uploaded to our YouTube so that those able to not attend will be able to view it later. Our pledge today is John Sentinel.
President Bill, fellow Rotarians and guests, please join me in facing the flag and pledging allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Week here today is Deanna. Okay, you ready for this? Okay.
Be careful what you say, John.
Okay. Thank you, President Bell, fellow Rotarians. So when I was provided the opportunity to come up here and inspire everybody, I started thinking, well, what inspired me when I was younger in college? And that was a couple things that my friend and I came up with to get us through those tough years of college. And
Can we sit down?
please, everybody, sit down. I only got about 15 more minutes. But Ricky, one of those things that I used to say was foam is beer. So that's something that you really need to live your life by in college.
Foam?
Foam is beer.
Foam.
Foam. The other thing is beer is money. So those are the two things that I learned from UC Davis. Go at it. All right. But in addition, I'll give you some other quotes here and see if you can maybe figure out what they are. This is one, it's two quotes actually that said, one says, some people want it to happen, some wish it would happen, others make it happen. He also said, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the winning shot and miss. I've failed over and over and over. And that is why I succeed. That is true, Michael Jordan. A couple other quick quotes here. Things may come to those who wait, but only those things left by those who hustle. Smart people learn from everything and everyone. Average people from their experiences. Stupid people already have all these. And believe it or not, that's from Socrates. That's who the internet says. A couple more here. Someone that most of this crowd might know, Catherine Hepburn said, if you obey all the rules, you miss all the fun. George Burns said, don't stay in bed unless you can make money in bed. Here's, I'll end with this one of my favorites. You're off to a great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so go get on your way. Dr. Seuss.
Thank you, John. Now it's time to introduce visiting Rotarians. I know we have one in the room. Okay, can you project your voice?
Mr. President, fellow Rotarians of Illinois, it is my great honor to introduce Mr. Ryan Hale from Fulton County, Dallas, Georgia, and he's in the business of financial advice.
Welcome, Ryan. And Ryan presented us with a banner from his club, and we're presenting him with a banner from our club to take back to Georgia with him. Welcome, Ryan. Are there any other visiting Rotarians in the room? Guests of Rotarians? Bob? I'm proud to This board is working on a family membership, so we'll get back to you.
How many times did you yes before you have to join us? That's what we're doing.
Larry.
Yes, President Bill and fellow Rotarians, I'm really happy and pleased to have the younger of my two sons here after being in Peru and Italy and Spain, marked by design, marked by COVID. He's back in the Tri-Valley area. I'm really happy to have him here. Please welcome Keith Nass.
Welcome, Judy. Deanna. Welcome, Diego. Nice to see you again. Am I missing anyone? Okay, we're gonna watch a Zoom video for about a minute or two from Dick Stafford.
Hello,
Where's,
I heard it.
oh,
can you hear me? Can you see me? Hello?
we,
Hello,
you're not,
hello?
your video's not on, Dick.
We can hear you, Dick.
It says that it is. I'm not doing this from home, so it's maybe not working properly. I don't want to take too much time, but I do have a couple announcements relative to the wheelchair program. So maybe it's just going to be vocal. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay. I think I mentioned this before, but they have started to deliver the wheelchairs in Tulancingo finally, and utilizing the various Rotary clubs down there to make that happen. So that's one piece. The other is relative to any donations that are being or will be made in Nancy Pinnell's name. I think you know that people need to make checks out to the Rotary Club of Pleasanton Foundation / Wheelchair Project. And if they put to my attention, that would be helpful, and I'll get them into the right account. And by the way, the post office box, somewhere I saw it listed as Post Office Box 351. It's not, it's 352, as I think most of you know. Anyone who makes a donation will receive a written thank you acknowledgement, including the tax ID information. And there was a question about the costs of the wheelchair. The costs of a wheelchair vary. It varies for a lot of different reasons. But anyone who makes a donation of $150 will get a presentation folder from the Wheelchair Foundation that includes the picture of a recipient and a certification of thanks, again, from the Wheelchair Foundation at Walnut Creek, the International Foundation. So hopefully that answers some questions that I've heard about how do we make that happen. The certificate can be personalized as a gift in honor of or in memory of anyone special person in the life of the donor. I will be making a presentation at either the next week, hopefully, or the following, with more detail about where we are with the wheelchair project at this point in time and what we're looking at moving forward. So any questions at all, particularly about the donation process?
I think we're good. Thank you, Dick.
One other thing, when you get the thank you, there will be an application there for people to fill out to designate who they want the certificate in memory or in honor of. So that will be included. And you get one certificate for every donation of $150. Questions? No questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Next up, we have Mariana.
Thank you, President Bill. Everyone here will be really excited and happy to know that this will be the first of a weekly reminder from either me or my spirit.
Oh, joy.
And aren't you happy about that? From either me
He's
or
still
my
my heart.
committee, that the Spirit Run is going to be on October 31st, Sunday, Halloween Day. It's going to be the last day of the Alameda County Fair. We're collaborating with them and hopefully piggybacking on their publicity. And we're going to have some runners to be at the fair entrance at the end of the run. So please, 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 if nothing else for today's announcement, if you mark off October 31st, 6 a.m. We need everyone to participate. And we need you to recruit your family and friends to help us because our club's a little smaller than it has been. And we're expecting 1,001 runners this year, so I can win my bet with Brad Hurst. And so we need a lot of volunteers. So please, we'll be getting more information, but if nothing else, please reserve that date, October 31st. Thank you.
Larry, did you say our club is a has-been? Did you say that?
Great. Our next announcement is Mark Canis.
Thank you, President Bill. It's with great honor to take over the public image position on our board. And with that, I inherited responsibilities for Club Runner. We've been using Club Runner for well over 10 years. It's been endorsed by Rotary International. It was for a long time getting kind of oversubscribed and updated, but I'm really happy that it's incredibly improved its features and its performance. So I've taken a strong interest in updating our website and reaching out to many people in the club here for input. And very specifically, we've got a new donations guide that will help club members understand the various areas where you can donate. And then also there's in the upper right-hand corner of the website, there's a member area. I'd encourage everyone to log in and make sure your contact information is up to date. That'll help us with communications. And last but not least, there's a new area for committee chairs where they can update their site. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Mark's invested hundreds of hours already this year working as the chair of the new Public Image Committee, and I'm very grateful for your service, Mark. The next speaker for a minute or two will be Steve Baker, who is the chair of our Community Service Committee.
Thank you, Bill. I'd like to let everyone know that there is a community service project tomorrow, Kids Against Hunger, a packing event in collaboration with Pleasanton North Rotary. They're the ones sponsoring this. We can participate. I sent an email out earlier this week with all the specific details. There's a link you can register. It's $20. The money goes towards the food that is going to be distributed. So it's from 2 to 3:30 tomorrow on Quarry Lane here in Pleasanton. So if you can join us, great. I know this is kind of last minute. Hopefully on future events, we can provide more notice. Thank you.
And then last but not least, I heard somebody's been traveling, so I get to hear about this.
It's your
First of
first.
all, I'd like to say that I went to UC Davis at the exact same time as John Newman, and I've never heard the term beer is foam. So we must have hung in different circles, or foam is beer, whatever that was. We were hung in different circles. So my wife and I made a trip through the Southwest last week to primarily to visit my son, who lives in Phoenix. And along the way, we stopped at a bunch of different points. And of course, at every point I stopped at, I thought of Bill, President Bill, and
Every one.
you know, I thought that he would really enjoy this trip. So I got a couple things for him. Like, I don't know how many of you have been through the Southwest, but one thing I didn't realize is that everything down there is prickly pear related. So you can get prickly pear pie, you can get prickly pear soda, you can get prickly pear juice. And of course, most of all, you can get prickly pear flavored margarita mix. So I got to make some prickly pear flavored margarita mix for the next poker game. And a Sedona, whatever you call it, you can put your glass on. Yeah, yeah, coaster, thank you, then you can put your glass on. And then I will make I'd like to make a $150 wheelchair contribution in Nancy's memory, but I'm not quite sure how to do that. So maybe I'll check in with Chris Stafford to see what that process is.
Thank you very much, Bob. We have a 1 minute and 52 seconds, I believe, Rotary International video that we're going to run for you right now.
Okay. Yes, hang on. Damn it. The layers. Give me a second.
Ricky comes here at 11 o'clock to set up a 12:30 meeting.
As long as my what doesn't come up on? Corn. I don't know what happened to it now.
Should we move on?
Yeah, move on. I'll come back to it.
Okay, Mr. Steve McCoy Thompson, are you?
Actually, I got it. I got it now, if you want it.
We're for communities. Your local ones, the established ones, the emerging ones, the wacky ones, and the peaceful ones, even faraway ones. We champion them because we believe society works best when people work together. Without them, it's another story. But we can do something to strengthen our communities because we are Rotary. People with the desire to give something back to the society that made us, us. People from all backgrounds with skills and experience on a wealth of important issues. Supporting good causes locally and internationally. Helping all sorts of projects to succeed. And helping those who need it most. Rotary. We're for communities. Are you? Visit ribi.org.
Thank you. Now I'll bring Steve up here to introduce today's speaker and program.
Thank you. Hi, great to see all of you. It is my great pleasure to introduce Heather Pereira and Lisa Heifel, if you want to come on up. Heather is the Director of Educational Options with the school district, and it's just a side job, really. She's also the principal of Village High School, so busy. And Lisa Heifel is an international technology specialist for the entire school district. And between the two of them, they are helping to guide the school district into new forms of teaching, which have been really pushed forward by the pandemic. So doing some really exciting. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. So where are we going? And slides. Okay. Yeah, we do have a little slide deck, and I have to say hi to Diego. He's in my class. Stay awake. Hello, nice to meet you all. My name is Heather Pereira. I've been in Pleasanton Unified for like 20, and I'm lost track at this point. A very long time. Started at Amador Valley High School, chemistry, biology, physics. Which one were you in? All of them. Moved over to curriculum, and then most recently into ed options, which includes my Village High School and our new school that we're building. So we started building this school actually pre-pandemic, sort of the foundations were there. We know that we have great schools in Pleasanton, and it works for the majority of our students. But in my role that I was, where I was in the curriculum and instruction department, I actually started to oversee like our interventions and our home and hospital instruction program, and really started to see a pattern of students who school wasn't working for. School, we have great schools, do amazing things for most kids, but some kids were not thriving, and we were struggling to find flexible alternatives for them or flexible options for them. So we started talking about building a school that was a little bit different. A small school, a place where we could customize for students. Kind of had some of those foundations built, and then COVID. So that presented us last year with an opportunity to just sort of hustle and try to meet the needs of every student while we continue to build the vision for what is now called the Pleasanton Virtual Academy. This is a personalized school. So students in our school are not expected to come to school every single day and sit on the seat. They can come when needed. They can opt in and out of opportunities while still receiving an education that is parallel to their classmates who are attending on a daily basis in what we call a seat-based program. And I did not give Lisa a chance to introduce herself, so I'm going to stop and do that.
I'm Lisa Heifel. I was a longtime teacher at Fairlands Elementary. I had some of those brown kids. Yeah. So I bet you were visiting Parkwood. Oh. And then went on to be an instructional technology coach in the district. My passion is in technology. I have a master's in ed tech and really launched worldwide with ideas around digital lesson design and speak around the world on teaching teachers how to bring authentic learning into the digital space and the two, and bring in creative experiences.
Yeah, so Lisa and I, being vastly different grade levels, of course, found each other because we are of the same mindset that kids need something that is customized and personalized to them. And then, of course, this past school year, the opportunity to infuse technology in a way that I don't think any of us ever even thought we would do. So we use in our school, we use the same curriculum that they use in the comprehensive high schools. So whether it be elementary to high school, but we use a lot of digital support. Because again, we're supporting and meeting our students where they're at, and sometimes they're in person with us, and sometimes they're not in person with us. Some of our students are with us because they are training for the Olympics, and they can only do school at a certain time of the day. And so we have to be able to reach them in a way that is asynchronous, which is a term I think we all learned last year. We were thinking asynchronous prior to last year, but now we kind of know what that means, that we can reach students in a way that is time sensitive for them, if you will. In addition to that, we do have hands-on in-person opportunities available for students who want them. We, prior to the pandemic, we kind of figured our school would be very, very small, maybe 100, 150 students, because again, we have wonderful schools and most of our students thrive there. But we really wanted to have this school also that was like an incubator for innovation. It's hard to innovate in a big system sometimes, especially when it's working well for most students. So to be able to sort of innovate and have a space to do that with students that, again, we're looking for something different. Now, we do have a pandemic that's ongoing, and I think a week or two ago, we had about 150 kids, now over 300. So we've had a massive increase in just the last week, so we're not moving, trying to get all these kids onboarded into their classes and teachers hired, et cetera. But, you know, the vision remains the same. I know that some of our students are coming to us, maybe not because they needed a different methodology of school, but because they're avoiding COVID, and that's okay. They're still going to receive that same level of service with that personalized, individualized approach to school. Next slide. It is, again, emphasis on we're part of the Pleasanton Unified School District, right? We know the district has a long tradition of excellence that is usually attributed to our staff and our families working together. And so we're kind of, you know, the same thing here in the Pleasanton Virtual Academy. All of our teachers, I believe, we have one teacher who was not with Pleasanton last year, but the majority of our teachers, we have 13, we have 13? I'm losing track, we just hired anyone this morning. We have a lot of teachers now, and they come to us with years and years of experience in the Pleasanton Unified School District. So bringing that culture of excellence and the expectation of excellence to a virtual or flexible space was important to us. And so we're excited to kind of build this academy as the year goes on. Again, the idea is that it's flexible. Some of our students, being the principal at Village High School, some of my friends come to Village because they can never make it to their first period class. Doesn't mean that they are not right and that they wouldn't be successful, but they could not get to first period. You have a later start time at Village, so sometimes that solves it for them. So we know that we're always going to have students working that rigid structure of a 8:30 or 8 to 2 day does not work. We also, for our 6 through 12 students, we have them work on something called an individual learning plan. We do have a school counselor now, started last week, and so really being able to focus on what are their individual needs and how do we make sure we reach those. If you can go to the next slide. We do this by, again, the flexibility and letting them take advantage of things that perhaps might be outside of our system, but us helping to bring them into our system. For example, students can take classes at Las Casitas College A lot of students do that, but not, in our opinion, not enough students do that because they need someone to help them understand how to take those classes and apply them back to our school district, et cetera. But one of the things that we're really focusing on for our 9 through 12 friends is partnerships, mentorships, and internships. We know that kids learn by actually doing things. And we've not struggled, but it's been hard in the past few years to get enough students into meaningful internships. And part of the challenge is that internships and people are working during the school day. And during the school day, we're telling them you have to be sitting in a seat at Foothill High School. So this time gets in the way. So we're really excited to be able to bring this possibility to our students of developing some internships that they can actually do during the school day because they don't have a school day. It's completely flexible, but we can oversee their work in these areas as we begin to place them. We also know that mentoring is really important, particularly for some of our students that might not have mentors in areas that they are interested in exploring. So we're going to build those for our students as well. And then obviously partnerships. We've long had partnerships with different organizations. When I was a teacher, being in science, I had a partnership with one of our labs where I bring my kids out there for the summer and they would work on projects and be working with real scientists in the lab because according to them, I'm not a real scientist. But they really learn from working with these other folks. And so we want to bring those to kids and we want to get kids out more. One of the things we both noticed is over the past, I would say 10 years, the number of students that will go on a field trip with you has diminished, particularly at the secondary level. Kids are so worried about missing time in their classes that they will take a day off to go somewhere. And we live in the Bay Area. There's so much for kids to see here. And to be able to talk about school and the connections to school when we go to those places. I know our kids go with families and things like that, but to go with their class and a teacher who can point out the things that they've learned in their classroom and bring those things to life for them is really important. And we just struggled to get kids to do that. They don't want to miss a day of school, which is awesome. We've done our job. They won't leave that school for anything, but it's also a missed opportunity in our mind, especially for kids who might need more of that real interaction, like real learning. Right, next slide. Forget exactly how much I know I've got for you. That's the have questions part. But I'm gonna hand it over to Lisa so she can explain a little bit of the thinking. She's been coaching our teachers this week as we've been. Honestly, all I do is onboard kids, so that's what I do. And then she's been coaching our teachers and really talking about sort of the vision and how we're going to bring this to life. So I'll let her talk about that.
Thank you. So as a former Rotarian, I was a part of the virtual Silicon Valley Rotary for quite a few years, and I can really relate to the projects I did with that Rotary Club. And I know that that's something that you have in common with our virtual academy, because what you are doing, your Rotary work, is putting into action so much of your knowledge and what you've learned throughout your life and your careers to do good in other places. Project-based learning is a lot like that. And school has changed a lot. And I know you probably are well aware, especially when we went virtual last year. But there's schooling that is your base program where you teach kids skills. It's the input of knowledge, very important. And that is at the basis of the virtual academy. Of course, our students will be taught from our TKers all the way up to our 12th graders reading and writing and math and history and all of the subjects. But the specialness of this academy is so what, now what? So you know this information, what are you going to do with it? And if you've ever asked a student that from kindergarten to 12th grade, you get varying answers, and a lot of them are, I have no idea, just tell me what to do. I see that in industry a lot when kids graduate, and my brother who worked in Price Waterhouse would say, what are you teaching these children? Because they come to me and say, tell me what to do at work. And so we're building these critical thinkers, these inquiry thinkers who through design thinking can take the application of their knowledge and put it into projects. something that they can showcase their work, they can work together, collaboration, that critical thinking, and for authentic purposes. So we will be teaching our teachers, they are really good at this already, and building projects with our kids that the kids are designing and then implementing. And hopefully we'll be seeing them around and hearing about some of this. So we are looking to partner a lot with this community. And Rotary is a great place to begin for sure, because great role models and mentorships for that application. So.
Sorry, I don't know everybody's name. I only know Diego's name.
So, when the entire district had to go virtual, did you two get called on to help make the conversion, and how did that go? Tell us a little bit. That must have been very exciting.
So our district, I at the time was the tech integration coach for the district. There were 2 of us and 800 teachers. And we had been doing years of training teachers how to utilize their computers really well for teaching. And like, this is my 8th year in the coaching role. So it was not new to our teachers. Thank goodness the district had the foresight to get us started 8 years ago with teaching teachers how to effectively use it. So we were in charge of immediately creating virtual academies online for our teachers and how to do this professional development. Our team of coaches who were working on that were highly trained and do this work outside of the school district as well. We do it through ISTE, which is an international society for technology and education, presenting at conferences and bringing in best practices from all over the world. We have connections to many school districts, many thought leaders in industry and in education about how to best teach online. And so we just ran an academy for our teachers. We had it taped. We had it, they could watch it later, they could watch it live, and lots of office hours where people were coming. And I just can't even describe to you what it's like to teach a first grader how to share their screen while they're on a Zoom call. And so if you hear the calmness of my voice, it's because I learned how to have my Zoom Zen. And you just, we failed a lot. And to be honest, my big aha was they were just fine. And I have a name for the kids now, they're called wayfinders. And anytime that we failed, the teacher, my Zoom call dropped, I'm gone, I jump back in, they're all still there. And they're all talking about me. Where is she? She's gone. Those really happen, but these kids had it in them to know what to do, to figure it out. They're not afraid of all the buttons. My problem was I was in the way. I was over teaching. I wasn't stepping back and letting them explore and figure things out more on their own. So it's this different philosophy of education and instruction and encouragement that helps kids really thrive. And then we just direct that energy. And I think last year, rather than looking at the terminology of learning loss, I saw learning gains everywhere I went, from TKers to 12th grade. And they're right in front of us. I hope we can identify it because it looks so different than when we were all in school.
How many times did you have to tell them you're on mute? You have to unmute.
So I was going to wear my t-shirt today. I have a t-shirt that says you're on mute. And yeah, he was, the best was, so it was different because I worked with all age groups. And when I was with the elementary students, no one would go on mute. And they would all have their cameras on and everyone was moving. So, and showing you everything and telling you everything. And then the flip side, I went secondary, no cameras. You're just talking to the abyss and cracking jokes. And I'd be like stand-up comedian to none, you know, like, I'd be like, I know you're laughing right now. I know you think I'm funny. having a complex and talking to myself. And I'll just flash a camera and let me know there's a live audience. And they were fun. They were actually producing the student projects that came out of last year are unbelievable. We had a student film festival at the end of the year. The creativity, the talent these students showed is enormous when we get out of their way and expose them to authentic application of knowledge. Is really my biggest goal.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about something you mentioned. So I know earlier, you talked a little bit about how a lot of students just weren't thriving going to, what's been considered normal education, right? And I wanted to find out kind of if in your experience, this is a relatively new phenomenon, or if you've seen this in the past and now this kind of application just allows you to combat that more effectively. Is this due to, obviously, COVID has really helped bridge that gap for education for a lot of students, but do you think this is like a relatively new thing over the last so odd many years, or has this been something in the past? It just hasn't had a lot of applications for it.
Yeah, so I think I got to see it from different perspectives, right? When I was in the classroom, I knew some kids weren't exactly connecting with the curriculum. Was my curriculum your favorite? Are you a chemist?
No, not particularly.
Okay. So that's sort of like this, helping kids thrive in a general comprehensive setting has always been a thing. When I moved into the curriculum division, I think I got to see it differently because I was looking at kids that really didn't make it. Not kids who were in my class, but like I could tell maybe they didn't love it, but then it was incumbent on me to sort of make them love it, or at least drag them through the best I could. These were kids that were just not in the system, not showing up to school, severe social anxiety, just real trouble connecting. I don't know, I assume that was always there. I wouldn't have seen it in my role. I got to see it differently. I do think the pandemic presented us with some different and unique challenges. We do have students, I would say a lot of our students that are coming to us that are not coming to us because they're concerned about COVID are saying, like, I did better last year. I did better last year than I did in my previous years. I was able to get the attention I needed. I was able to get what I needed when I needed it. And I didn't have the distraction, particularly at high school, of a large group of students around me. We have very large high schools, and that's tough on some of our kids. Middle schools too are actually our largest class. Virtual Academy is 7th grade. They're all trying to escape. So we know that kids need different things at different times. And to that end, we're designed to be seamless. You can come to Virtual Academy 7th grade and then maybe like to reintroduce yourself to the Gen Pop in 8th grade. That's fine. We'll help you go back. And we're using the same curriculum, same teachers, it's just presented in a different way.
Has testing changed as far as, each grade going through that, and do they have to show up for that, or?
Yeah, so the pandemic, we didn't, most testing was suspended in the pandemic, which just my own educational philosophy around that is I think we do a little too much of it. I'd love to spend a little bit more time on kids and not make them take tests. But I also do love some of our tests. It gives me information. I need to know what I need to give each student, so I have to give them something to be able to figure that out. We have options for kids to come in person or to stay home. If students are worried about COVID, we can assess them while they're at home. We just got our assessment. Elementary does a lot of assessing. So we just got our assessment email, and so we're just kind of carrying on. Most of our students are going to be in person. So all of those assessments are designed to be in person. Most of PUSD students are going to be in person. We'll work on modifying those as needed so students can take it at home, or they can come into our learning center. We have a building now where students can come. Yes. Yeah, so we got to learn lots of techniques for that last year. For science, and science is my background, so those are the classes like I have a little bit more like, oh yeah, this actually works. A lot of the laboratory experiences are done through a virtual lab. And they're actually pretty good. You know, it's hard having a chemistry lab with 36 students. Inevitably, 2 of the kids in every group are fooling around and making the other kids do all the work. So at least this way, I know they actually had to do it themselves, but I can see it. But we're also utilizing that hybrid modality of we are going to have our chemistry teachers and they are going to have in-person experiences available for the students. But because we don't have the constraints of time, we can have kids come on like a Tuesday night from 3 to 5 or whatever and do the whole lab. Not like kids come in your classroom and are like, okay, you're gonna do this, this, and this today. Hurry up, go. And then they just try to rush through it and then Diego is nodding because that's high school labs. So we're actually excited to be able to slow down and really do a full lab experience with kids. I mean, there's a lot we don't do in a comprehensive setting just because of time. So we are doing hands-on. And I don't know if you want to speak to engineering.
Yeah, so our schools are really involved in Project Lead the Way, which is an engineering program, and one of our elementary teachers is highly trained in Project Lead the Way, and we'll be bringing kids into our building where we have, so it's a hybrid, they're online, and if they choose to come in, they'll be doing robotics, they'll be doing coding, they'll be doing programming. We have lots of equipment for them to be working with and doing actual builds. Hands-on, playing with the stuff and working through it. We have 3D printers where they'll be doing design thinking and creating things. And so we have the best of both worlds. We have smaller numbers, we have a space for it, but we also have our base program, which can be done online. So it kind of frees up time for us. So we have that time and space. We also will be adding enrichment in terms of like music and art and graphic design. And so we'll be teaching those courses, either those who want to be at home, but I'll be doing watercolor painting on Friday afternoons if you'd like to join me. So
Yeah, and we can actually, one of the fun things for me is to bring in things that we might not be able to support at one of our in-person schools. We just established a partnership with a little college called MIT, and we are going to be providing a quantum computing class. No idea what it is, guys. Read some of this. Still confused. But I have some little students who are super excited about this. So they'll be receiving A to G credit for taking this course through MIT, and their professors are MIT professors. It's all virtual. We have to have a teacher here that will help them through the projects that they'll have to do like in person and together at our virtual academy learning center. But that's not something I could have run at a high school. In a sort of traditional format. So we're really excited to build these partnerships that we couldn't build before and bring more opportunities to students to, again, just get them excited about school. Every kid would be excited about everything they're learning. Yeah.
Are you getting to what percentage of your?
Not yet. It's tough. I have to tell you the past week has been rough. The COVID Delta variant and all the news, it's hard right now to manage that. So next week, as we onboard our students, fully onboard them with their teachers, we'll get more of an idea of who's going to be able to come in and who's going to stay at home. Yeah. Our goal is like COVID's gone to at least lure everybody in for something fun.
Could a traditional student enroll in this MIT course as one of their elected?
They can.
So they can mix and match?
They can, yeah. We're permitting dual enrollment. Right now, it's limited, just because again, we didn't know how much we'd be able to handle in our first year. So students have to be a full-time student somewhere. Elementary students can only enroll in virtual academy or a traditional school. There's no part-time. They're too squirrely. Middle school students and high school students, we can dual enroll. So our high school students, we actually have a number of them that are going to do like 4 or 5 classes with us and then go back to Amador Foothill for a class. We're not offering band, for example. So if a student wants to take band, they're going to have to go in person and take band. So we're happy to have sort of that hybrid. Our MIT course is going to be open to all students. It's actually the instruction happens on Sunday. So if they're happy to do that on Sunday, then we're happy to facilitate that for them. Yeah. Okay.
For like your high school students, is it possible for them to
We're so excited about that. I'm excited about the high school. We've kind of struggled with that as a district, frankly. Like, we don't have a lot of great pathways for acceleration for students. Everybody's kind of like, you have to stay at your grade level. And there's always been kids that needed that. So we're looking at putting protocol in place so that students can matriculate through classes faster. And that's always, that's tough in a comprehensive setting, right? But 36 kids, I can't let this kid, do everything from semester 1 and be done in October because I'm gonna have 35 more that I'm, waiting for. But with the way that we're doing it, the individualization can. So it's just a matter of, we have to set some criteria so that students can move a little faster if they're able to. And we're really looking at competency-based education. So once they demonstrate competency, we can, sort of reasonably say that they know how to, they understand this material, and then they can move on to the next level. Yeah.
On the flip side, do you have any courses or programs targeted for special needs?
Yeah, so right now we don't have programs completely set up for special needs students because we differentiate for every student, if that makes sense. We do, there's some protocol for special education students to be able to come into a school like ours. Ours is considered a school of choice in California, so you have to opt into it. And if you're a student with an IEP, your IEP team needs to meet and determine whether or not that is an appropriate setting for the student. We're doing our best to make sure it's an appropriate setting for any kid who needs it. It is our goal to make it inclusive. But we probably won't have like delineated separate programs because our goal is to bring all students into sort of base program and then adjust as needed.
So you're flexible, you're flex towards the needs of students without affecting the rest of the class.
Yes, because they each get their individual sort of experience. Here comes Steve.
Okay, so the question I have is, can these kids do this virtual program without their parents being involved? Because if their parents are working and they aren't around, does that kind of exclude the kids from doing the virtual?
Yeah, so all opt-in choice programs do require some level of commitment from families, guardians, parents, whoever they live with. The younger kids absolutely need help from adults, and it can range from they need somebody sitting right next to them to they just need a quiet place to learn. Some of them are incredibly good with executive functioning and some of them are not. So it really is just student dependent. Most of our secondary students that come to us, our 6 to 12 kiddos, they don't require too much assistance. They're old enough to understand it. We have protocol and practices in place. For example, if the student starts to not do well, we have re-engagement strategies. Like there's a process in place to make sure that the students are doing well. If students don't do well in our program, we have to put them back into the other school. So what we found last year, because we offered, it's called Independence Day last year. We offered it to way more kids than we had ever offered it before because for a lot of kids, Zoom school wasn't working, like the just being on Zoom every day. So we were trying to individualize for those kids. So I think, we had up to 150 students at one point. If they don't do well, we have to come back. And then as we start that process of having a conversation about going back, suddenly they start to do well. Go back. So it seems to work out so far. It's been pretty good, but it is compulsory that if they don't do well, we have to put them back into the comprehensive setting. Thank you for having us today.
I just want to say on behalf of PBIE, it's been wonderful working with these two. Lisa is instrumental in our STEM grants program, which we give out to students and teachers, which Rotary has made possible. And Heather, we're doing a business school engagement program, and she's been really instrumental in being business contacts and mock interviewers or class speakers via Zoom to students. And I mention this because if any of you are interested in that, we're reaching out to a lot of businesses. If you'd like to be part of that, maybe club mentor, in particular the STEM program, or class speaker, what have you, let me know, and we'll work together. So thank you very much.
Are you working with the chamber on that?
Yes. And they've been great. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve. Bob Shapiro announced that there was a passing, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the person. And that her services will be next Thursday at 1 o'clock. And he said that many of the people in this club plan to attend those services. So I'm asking for a hand raise or a vote of some kind, not to cancel our meeting next week. We have an obligation with this place. They can't just turn it on and off like a light switch. So should we cancel Catherine Baker as a speaker next week and just meet and have a shortened meeting, maybe end by 12:10?
No.
Let's see, the yeses, raise your hand, please. Okay, the noes, raise your hand. The undecideds are the overwhelming majority here. We need a little bit better vote here, guys. Let's try that again. So we're gonna have a meeting regardless, okay? We have to.
Before you have, the question is if they're not gonna be here, then it affects the.
Well, but there's people that said that they would come here and leave the meeting early
I understand
to
that,
attend that.
but if the other people don't show up at all, because
Yeah.
we're gonna have it, then there's a deficit here, so.
Bill, we could actually do the meeting in reverse and have the speaker first so that they could leave at the end of the speaker and do all the other stuff at the end of the meeting.
Great. Ricky just proposed something that sounds reasonable. We could bring Catherine in, have her start first, and then if you want to leave to attend the service, we won't be walking out on the speaker, and we can do our regular Rotary business at the end.
Bill, could we have her speak at noon? From noon to 12:30, let's say? Start early. Yeah, start a little earlier.
We would have to ask
We would have
the,
to ask the
the answer is probably, but
spectrum is probably gonna say yes, we have to ask. We can't just make that assumption.
You have to ask Catherine too.
yeah.
Right.
The spectrum would serve at the same time then. The speaker will be done at 12:30, then you leave with those people that want to stick around. So they be served at the same time. Yeah, but the problem is, we're not, the people that are leaving are gonna eat, and that's the problem, is we have to pay them.
We have to pay
If
them.
everybody leaves to go to the funeral.
I think that they will accommodate us. Just look, check your email. We'll get back to you.
All right, check your email. Please watch your emails. Maybe we'll move the meeting up till 12 o'clock next week instead of 12:30 to start. And then that might solve the problem. John, did you want to add something?
Accelerate the lunch so we eat it. And Catherine can eat always like,
I would be,
Okay.
I guess
So
they'll,
everybody, please, pay attention to your emails that we sent from Club Runner because we'll probably.
even though you normally don't read your emails, please read them this time.
Okay. Would you like to give some money away, Dennis?
Take your mask off for this.
We worked one last week, we got $20.
Marjorie, two. Okay, the last three are 8, 4, 7. All right, how's that? Oh, there we go. You had to wake up.
Just one. Just one.
There you go. Oh, we're 100% this year. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're adjourned.